It started with the biggest pipe bomb the FBI had ever seen.
There is a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
It ended in a dumpster after the largest manhunt in American history.
My knees knocked so hard that I was about to answer them. That's how nervous I was.
Eric Rudolph and the rise of anger.
Domestic terrorism has been metastasizing across the country for a long time now.
True story, true crime, true consequences for us all.
American Shrapnel, from award-winning journalists Becca Andrews and John Archibald, two-time winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Now available wherever you get your podcasts.
Talk about stepping up! Bang! Bang! It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
We are about 10 days away from the start of the season. The QB position is still in the middle of a competition, and we're going to break down the Ducks schedule, all that and more here on the Ducks Confidential podcast. I am Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian OregonLive, and I'm joined by my man, George Wrighster, host of the Unafraid Show, former Oregon and NFL tight end. And he also, I wrote all this down, so I made sure I got it. You can catch him on the CW doing pre and post and halftime, right? Halftime commentary and analysis for the Pac-12 and ACC. Look at you go.
You forgot one thing.
Oh, God. What?
Oregon Ducks Hall of Famer, not just former Oregon Ducks player.
Wait,
right?
You're a Ducks Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Man.
And I got a bird in the joint. Hey, man, you got to do your research.
When were you inducted in the Oregon Hall of Fame?
Look it up, sir. Look it up.
I know you got your degree.
Look it up. Hey, man, listen. Google will always help you.
Hall of Fame for what?
I don't know. I don't know. Being a handsome.
You are not in the Hall of Fame. Quit lying.
Come on, man. Let's get on with the show.
I don't see you. Okay. Before we start, I have some business to take care of. Today's episode of Ducks Confidential is brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene Cascades and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, let's jump into our first conversation topic. The Ducks held their second scrimmage on Saturday. Of course, it was closed, which still sucks, by the way, but I get it. So according to Lanning and according to some of your intel, the scrimmage went better for the offense. They struggled in the first scrimmage, but this time they moved the ball with more efficiency. Still not a lot of big plays, though, which is very good news for the defense. What say you, George?
Oh, man, we are in a situation where this is exactly what we said on the last show, Aaron, right. What we want to see out of this offense and this defense. So you want the defense to limit big plays significantly. Like, you don't want them to be getting 25, 30, 50-yard chunk plays unless it's, tip, angels in the outfield type of play. And you want them to have to methodically move the ball down the field. But the best part about it, though, is that if your offense can move the ball methodically down the field, then you're in good shape there too, because you have to be able to sustain drives against good defenses that aren't giving you big chunk plays. Because the reality is that if you do that, and when you play against the lesser teams or the defenses that aren't special, those big plays are going to happen. And you don't have to force them. They will organically happen.
100%. Exactly. The vast majority of big plays are the product of bad defense, either miscommunication or blown coverage, what have you. For example, one that comes to mind, Kenyon Barner caught a wheel route for a touchdown up in Seattle against Washington State, completely uncovered, wide open. Was that a great scheme? No, you got a slant and a wheel from the back. Well, what happened? The coverage blew it. Like, they just didn't account for the back. It's a touchdown. But you can't count on that all the time, right? And sometimes defenses are going to keep you in front of them And so you have to be able to take the flat, take the curl, take the tight end choice, take whatever you can to keep the chains moving. And that's a product of excellent execution. And then eventually against the lesser teams, boom, big things are going to pop.
Players do. I mean, if you think about it, there's two types of plays. There's shot plays where you are looking to take a big play because you know that if you get this look, you think that, all right, this is the play. Like, for instance, and it's not always a pass play. Think about last year. I forget which game it was when Dylan Gabriel scored on like a speed option and he was running to the left. And but he checked into the play because they were waiting on this look all game. And they prepared for this one look. They said, if we get this look, call this play, we are going to score a touchdown.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. So coaches are always trying to, like, when they're watching film and there's a tendency, there will be a couple of shot plays where they're saying, if we get this one specific look, I don't care what play we call, check out of it and get into this.
Right.
And this will be a touchdown.
Right.
Yeah. So there are shot plays and then there are your regular, ordinary, standard plays. And when your players are better than the other team's players, then yes, your standard slant, your dig, your, zone running play to the right, gap scheme where somebody's pulling to the left, those can turn into big plays because your players are better and they step out of tackles, they juke somebody, or they just make somebody miss or make a tough catch and are strong enough to stay up and keep on running. So you don't have to manufacture big plays all the time. Sometimes your players are just better and you execute, they're going to make special things happen.
Yeah. I've done some coaching in my life. There's nothing like calling a play and seeing the defense come out. And you're like, bro, it's a touchdown. It's a touchdown.
Yes.
It's a touchdown. It's like they're in the perfect defense. It's like, oh my God, there's no way it's not a touchdown.
Don't get a holding penalty and don't sail the ball. Right. Don't miss the layup. Do not miss the layup.
It's guaranteed. All right. So now, again, a lot of youth on offense, and we're going to talk about the fact that they have one returning starter. That can lend itself to mediocre execution, but it sounds like the execution is improving. But there's also a lot of newness, youth, and there's some veterans, but still new guys in the secondary. And so if the secondary, which needs to gel together, and you have some young guys stepping in, is not screwing up, right, and blowing coverages, and getting beat by a curl with a wheel, right, and the wheel's a touchdown against cover 3 or whatever, then that's a great sign for what's going on back there, because we all know that Dante Moore has ridiculous arm talent, regardless of the fact that his stats at UCLA were not good. And Will Stein talked about this yesterday, that when he looked at his film, he cut out all the garbage and just want to look at the good plays to see the talent and not take into account, the offensive line mistakes or receiver mistakes or rookie mistakes. And he was like, the wild throws were ridiculous. So if the secondary is screwing up, there's some talented receivers on this team. Dante Moore will get them the rock. And the fact that that's not happening, even Austin Novosad, is a hugely good sign, I should say, for the secondary. You agree?
100%. And I think that sometimes people are focusing on this with Ohio State as well, because Ohio State's in a very similar situation as Oregon. They're only returning one more starter than Oregon is this year. And everybody, oh my God, all these, they're so inexperienced. They're so inexperienced. But when you think about it, that's actually not the case. It on paper, it looks less experienced, but when you dig down into it, there's actually significantly more experience than what you would think, because guys like, Gary Bryant Jr. has played a lot of football. Right. He's not a rookie. He's not, anything like that. Isaiah World played a lot of football, potential first-round pick. Emmanuel Pregnon, a lot of football at USC on the offensive line. Bedford has played. Harkey has played a lot of games. Center, lot of games. Kenyon Sadiq has played a lot. So Mekhi Hughes, the starting running back. So people are looking at it. They're like, oh my gosh, they got all these returning starters. But that is the thing about these programs is, like, when you are a development program or you are a program that recruits at such a high level, remember the beginning of last season where Oregon had so many players rotating in and out? That's because they're doing it intentionally. That way the next year, these guys aren't coming in, stepping on the field for the first time. Right. They're getting plays. And then when blowouts happen or this, like they're getting experience. So, and then on the defensive side, the same way. Yes, Amari Washington is not a starter, wasn't a starter last year, but he played a lot. Bear Alexander has played college football before. So has Devin Jackson. He's played. Jaleel Florence has played. So these guys aren't just new, to college football. It's not like throwing true freshmen out there. These people do have some real game time experience previously.
Right. And there's a difference between returning starters and returning guys who did start elsewhere, right?
Yes.
You may not return a lot of your starters, but you return dudes who start. I guess you don't return, you added starters. Anyway. But yeah, I think that's very encouraging for the secondary because, look, James Crepey, whom I cover the Ducks with for the Oregonian OregonLive, he and I had a long conversation after media stuff on Tuesday. And one of the things he pointed out, he's been covering the team since 2018. And of course, I just came off covering the Blazers. And he said how the recruiting under the last few years has just created this situation now where the talent level is so much higher. Yeah. That there were guys maybe Lang's first year because there was all that turnover. Guys left. He moved some guys out. There were some situations where there were guys who were starting that first year who wouldn't even be on the 2 deep this year. And that's not a discredit to them. It's just that, and for example, they added a couple 5-star DBs in this recruiting class who, in years past, they'd be starting or at
instantly,
least,
yes.
Right. But in today's age, you can go out and get, Thron
if you
Johnson
have a bunch of true freshmen
starting,
if you have a bunch of true freshmen starting, your team ain't that good.
Right. You have, I used to always say that back in the day when people would talk about, oh, this recruit's coming in, he's going to be great. I'm like, but wait, you told me the last 3 recruiting classes were great. How can this guy come in and start? Because that means that those guys weren't that good at that position. So ideally, if a true freshman's starting, he's DeAnthony Thomas, right? You got to get him on the field because he's ridiculous. Or what we might see from DeCoy Moore or Jeremiah Smith. He's not starting by default. So there's, like James was talking about, there's just so much talent through the pipeline that, there's just dudes back there. And I think, especially in the secondary and other areas, like you mentioned with D tackle, we can't see it yet, but based on what we're hearing, it's showing itself in scrimmages and practice.
And these are things that allow you to win national championships, win conference championships, win a lot of games, is that it's like you don't have to put so many miles early on just to win games on your premier players. So you're developing your other players in case somebody gets hurt or for the next season, and you are allowing your best players to not be taxed. That way, when you go to Happy Valley, that the rotation, it's gonna shrink. But then but when you play, Purdue or you play another team at the bottom of the conference, then yes, you are going to be able to, take a little bit of the miles off of some of your best players, and you have to pay attention to that. So I want fans to understand that you want to see more talent, and you want to see that talent is going to make the team way deeper, because the one thing when I'm watching games, when I'm calling games and, studying film and all this stuff, is I pay attention to the fourth quarter of blowouts. And people turn the game off and everything else, because if the team puts out their second and third unit and they're giving up, they're up, 35-3 in the fourth quarter, they put everybody in, and then the game finishes 24-35. The game finishes I'm like, that ain't good. People are like, that doesn't matter. That's blowout. No, these are the players that are going to play if somebody gets hurt.
Right.
These are the players that are going to play if next season. So no, you do not want to be like when your backups come in. Yes, they may give up some points to the other team starters, but it shouldn't just be them running up and down the field. I tell you that much. That is concerning.
Right. And to your point before, it's always nice if your main guns are only getting 50, 60 reps instead of 80.
Yep.
Because that's, that adds up. Over 4 or 5 games like that, that's 100 reps they didn't play. That's 100 less reps on wear and tear on their body. All
100 less opportunities to break your leg. 100 less opportunities to do something, to sprain an ankle.
Right. And then it's 100 reps for someone else. All right. So let's slide now into the QB competition. So they're still not announcing a starter. I guess, I was talking to James about it. James said they probably wouldn't announce it until we'll just know when Moore runs out with the first team against Montana State. Is that when we're going to? Okay. So Dante Moore and Novosad and Will Stein appeared in front of the media on Tuesday, and Novosad went before Moore, and I asked Novosad the following question. Do you believe you've done enough to win the job?
Yeah, I think I've gone out there and executed the offense and, done the best that I can. And so I feel confident. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I found interesting about his response is that there was zero emotion on his face. I think he definitely believes in himself. I think he also knows that Dante's going to start. And I think he handled the question well because he didn't say, I should be the starter. He just said, I've taken care of my business. I've done the job. Yeah. He definitely feels like he has the confidence to be that guy. You have said all along that dude is a legit big time starter. He just may be trapped behind a guy who probably has a little bit more of an it factor, a little bit more maybe overall wild talent, so to speak. So obviously we think Moore's going to start, but
context clues. There are context clues. If I always like to say, if I win the lottery, I'm not going to tell anybody, but there will be signs. But there will be signs. So Oregon's Twitter goes up today, and it is Dante Moore giving out beats. So he's got a new Beats deal, which Oregon probably helped facilitate, negotiate on some level because Dylan Gabriel had the same deal last year. So, I wonder why they would give it to Dante Moore. He's got a Nike deal too. I wonder why they would give
you want your backup being able to listen to beats on the sideline. That's why.
Exactly. So they ain't gonna tell us.
When Dante Moore is standing on the sideline, he likes to listen to his favorite music through.
When
Beats.
He's got the headset on, signaling
and the clipboard.
He's using Beats headphones. Exactly. So they ain't gonna tell us, but there will be signs. But I will tell you this. Because of how good and how efficient and how well Austin Novosad has played, don't think that if Dante Moore goes out there and struggles that this is gonna be a long leash. Don't think that this is he's our starter for the whole season and nah, buddy. This is we're talking about a 1A, 1B situation. 1A just got a little more twang to it. Just got a little more swag to it. Right. But if there's anything, we could literally be in a situation where I went into it as my redshirt freshman year. AJ Feely was the starting quarterback for the Oregon Ducks. He got hurt. Joey Harrington came in. Joey Harrington never came back out. So that's one of those things to where, Dante can start and play well. And then sprained ankle, this, that, and the other. And Novosad comes in there and beats Penn State and does this and plays well. He ain't coming back out. That's the unfortunate part about football, especially when you got somebody that good behind you. And I've talked to a bunch of players on this team, and they say things like, bro, we don't even want to miss practice So you got guys practicing where they would normally be banged up a little bit, and their mind is like, I can chill today, so I'll be better tomorrow. They like, I'm not giving up a rep because this hyena behind me is not. If I let him have any air, he's going to eat me.
And the other part of that too is that leads to a greater sense of the importance of your mentals in this situation. Like, you got to execute. You can't just be gifted and talented. You can't make mental mistakes, because if the guy who's behind you is more efficient and more disciplined, coaches are going to look to that in a heartbeat, because they're not going to trust you because you might give up the mistakes we talked about that you don't want to give up. Right.
Yep.
So, all right. So Dante Moore, he didn't smile much yesterday. You know, that's my first time being in front of him.
What's there to smile about? Job's not done.
I've seen him smile, but I've seen him smile in the past. So, I'm not saying he should be celebrating anything, but he just, I don't know. But again, I don't know the kid. I can't judge. But I asked him, kind of a long-winded question, because he mentioned how, freshman year at UCLA, some things he wasn't ready for. He talked about that numerous times. And I said, okay, time flies. Because you talked about this being his third fall. So you can look back at yourself as a freshman and see how much you've grown. Can you also look at what you saw from Bo and what you saw from Dylan? Because Dante Moore, if you think about it, he might be the only quarterback in the history of football who backed up 2 5-year starters. Well, he didn't back up Bo, but he was at least around it. So it's kind of funny to think about, because he got to learn from a 6-year starter. And so I asked him, how far away do you think you are from that? And he admitted, I'm far away from that guy.
Bo and Dylan, of course, were very experienced. They've been, in college for a long time. And I would say I'm not close to them at all, to be honest. They have been really, really experienced. And I understand they played over 60, 70 games in college. And, of course, I probably played in starting like 7 or 6. So my experience, of course, is what I'm doing at practice now. The way I'm pushing fall camp, the way I'm training, the way Coach Landon's pushing me, and the way I'm just bettering myself every day. I'm getting my experience up there. But when I look at them, they're very successful. But like I said, I don't want to look at them and try to follow them. I just want to follow myself and understand that these are things I have to get better at, because if I start looking at their success, at some point in my life, I'm probably going to be like, am I not good enough? So I just want to make sure I'm dialed in, keep where my feet are at, and push myself every day.
Here's my question for you. And then we're going to get into the schedule, because I still think that despite his talent level, that's going to pop up.
What's
going to pop up? The inexperience is going to pop up.
At every point in time, there is a point where newly minted starters or guys who are, Arch Manning, who people think is the second coming of Peyton Manning, is going and better. They think that he's going to have some moments where things ain't exactly perfect as well. That's just the nature of quarterbacking. Even Dylan Gabriel in the beginning of last season, people were like, I don't know about this dude. I don't know about this dude. And that's the nature of quarterbacking. It's not great all the time. And sometimes the defense does things to nerf what you're doing.
Right. Okay. You're not worried about that, though.
No.
We'll see. All right. Anything else on the QBs you want to talk about?
No.
Coach Stein.
I have heard some great things about the quarterback room. Even a kid that I thought would never, ever, ever play in an Oregon uniform, Luke Moga. They're like, he's improving. And the kid's a hell of an athlete. So that's even encouraging. So because you don't want to have to go out and transfer. If perfect Oregon world, right? Either one of two things happens. Either Dante Moore goes out there and lights it up, wins the Heisman. Everything is hopes and dreams come true. If he goes to the NFL, Austin Novosad is not leaving. He will be the Oregon starter for next year.
Right.
If all those things happen and Dante Moore decides to stay for another year, then Austin Novosad is going to transfer. But you would have some players behind him that you feel good about. And that's important.
All right. Also, I think Stein brought up Gary Bryant Jr. killing that receiver. He's a guy you mentioned in terms of having, veteran presence. He hasn't had a lot of production, but he's been around forever. He's been killing it. So that's a good sign. Just to have, you got to have someone, man. It doesn't matter what their stats were in their past. You just have to have someone who's an adult in the room, who's been around the block, who you can rely on, right?
Adult in the room is the perfect way to say it.
And so, he played behind some really good players last year. He has a chance to be one of those really good players. He's going to bring experience.
He was hurt all last year until the Washington game, I think, was his first game back.
Right. All right, let's slide into the schedule.
Yes.
You're excited. Okay, just tell me you're not going to go 12-0.
I can neither confirm nor deny, sir.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our soft early predictions. Well, George's might be hardcore predictions. And we're going to add a threat level of 0 to 5 in terms of the likelihood of them maybe losing this game, which, Penn State would maybe be a 5, whereas Montana State would be a 0. No offense to Montana State. But anyway, let's start there. Montana State, a week from this Saturday, the 30th, 12:30 game, I think it is. Montana State ranked number 1 in the nation I think right now, and for FCS.
In the FCS.
They went 15-1 last season, lost 35-32 to North Dakota in the finals. To me, this is the stay healthy game. I think this is an absolute 0 threat level. They're a good football team. They'll execute well. They might even score on their first drive. I don't know how many times in history I've covered a Duck game against a team that they should blow out, and that team comes out and scores first. It's amazing. But they get through that first script, right? Then after that,
they
like,
found
even
something
Liberty.
on film, and they're like, "Ooh, let's call all the best plays in the beginning," and then they hit something, and then all of a sudden. And then everybody's like, oh my God. And then the offense has a drop and it's 3 and out. And then all of a sudden it's 7-0. They got the ball back and you're like, bro, what the hell's going on? and then they move the ball a couple first downs. And then next thing you look up, it's 63-7.
Right. Exactly. So that's probably how this is going to go. For me, obviously we see Dante Moore in full action. We've seen him a little bit here and there, backing up last year with Dylan and garbage time, but now we're going to see him truly running the offense for Oregon. And we're also going to see, because it's going to be a blowout, we're going to see Austin get out there and show what he can do as well. Other than that, what do you want to see? I assume it's a 0 for you as well, right? You want to get a score? Or
it's a 0, but
it's a 0 threat.
It's a 0 threat, but I want to put it at a 1 because I'm actually going to put it as a 1 because I don't believe there's any date. Them losing the game is a 0, but there could be a 1 in terms of alarm bells could be going off after this game is over. So I'm putting it at it, huh?
Like what?
If I don't like something that I see, I will not be happy if there are things I do not like after this game. If there are some scary signs, if there are big plays being given up or, just some weird stuff that is concerning or you're not getting a big pass rush against them or there's too much penetration from their defense against the offensive line. Those are things that could raise the level of other things, but it's a 0 for them losing the game.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next up at home again, Oklahoma State, 3-9 last year under Coach Gundy. They missed a bowl game for the first time since 2005. They played 3 different quarterbacks. I think they're all gone. They're turning to some youngsters, I think redshirt freshmen. I'm putting that threat level at just a 1 because, it's a major program. They've had success in the past. I'm not going to say 0 ever for anything other than the FCS probably. So I'm going to say a 1. They don't have the horses. They don't have the bodies to come into Austin and pull off a win.
That is
49-13. How about that?
That's 100% a 1. You are right, Aaron, because Gundy literally said the other day, within the last couple weeks, that the reason why he didn't embrace NIL and the transfer portal is because he thought it would go away. that means that you have your head buried in the stand. You don't know
Where
what's
do you
going
think
on.
it was going to go?
Bro, I don't know. And that means you are so far out of touch with reality. He's watching too much OANN instead of paying to
but even if you think it's going to go away, take advantage of it while you can. Then if it goes away, it goes away.
That's not how we do things over here at Oklahoma State.
No.
Dude, he is the definition of the guy who got old and didn't realize that he was getting old and that the world was changing around him. And it's either adapt or die. And this is going to be his final season in Stillwater.
You know, Oregon wanted him.
Oh, yuck. When
they fired Helfrich and the staff, they wanted
No,
Gundy.
they did not want Mike Gundy. He was not at.
Okay.
Dan Mullen was the man they wanted.
Am I getting wait? No.
Yes, it was Dan Mullen, because I asked him about it when I interviewed him this spring, was that there was a deal for him to go to Oregon. But it got leaked, and then that's what blew the deal up.
Maybe I'm getting them confused. I could have sworn it was Oklahoma State's coach.
Anybody want to know Mike? He was doing good at the time, but yeah, no. Oh Lord, have mercy.
Okay,
That would have been
maybe I'm getting confused, but I do remember the story.
That would have been a disaster.
He didn't want anyone to know that he was talking to Oregon.
That was Dan Mullen.
Okay, it was Dan. Okay, my bad then. My bad. And then it got out, and he got pissed and pulled his name from the. Okay.
Yes, correct.
All right, my bad. Okay, moving along. All right, Northwestern 4-8 last season, 2-7 in the Big Ten. Coach David Braun's he's up against it a little bit, but it's one of those programs where they've done some things to improve the program. I think they want to get better, but it's tough sledding for Northwestern to keep talent. Like the Ducks stole Johnson, right? They do got a new quarterback though, Preston Stone, who was the backup at SMU last year, a couple years ago for SMU, 3,200 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 picks. Lost some defenders to the portal though, like I just mentioned with Johnson. I'm gonna make this a 1.5.
I'm going to leave this I'm going to put this at a 2.
A 2?
In terms of, a 2. Only because this game is at Northwestern. So it's going to be their first away game. And we've seen Ohio State, even when Ohio State's really good, go to Northwestern and get in a little slug fight. You know what I mean? Get like they drag you down and they'll try to so this is a 2 because this is a test. This is their first road game. This is an environment that's going to be electric. And Northwestern is the type of team that can play you close because they're just nasty, bro. They're going to just try to get first down after first down. They're like 3 + 3 + 3 = 12. So there's going to be some fourth down, go for it. This is like playing Vanderbilt. If you are Alabama, it is a game you're going to win if you just do what you need to do. But if you don't execute properly, you could end up in a weird spot.
So they lost 41-24 to Indiana, which is closer than you would think, and 31-7 to Ohio State, like you said, and even Illinois was only 38-28.
Yeah,
so those were quality teams where it wasn't a complete rout. So okay, I'll give you a 2. I still say 1.5, but
I
two
do
is fair.
believe that this game, this game, should be a 24-point victory, but it could end up like a 10, and you're like, ugh.
And then we're raising the red flags all over the place. Okay, next up, returning home, Oregon State, the tune-up for Penn State. Beavers 5-7 last year. I'm not going to talk bad about the Beavers. They're doing their thing. They're trying to
they're doing the best they can. They're doing the best they can right now.
Revamping program. Yeah, 0. I'm not a 0. I'm gonna say a 1. Like I said, I'll give any major program a 1, but that's it. I just I'm gonna give this game.
I'm gonna give this game. I'm gonna give this game a 0.
Damn.
There's no. This is like Oregon State is not Montana State, okay? But Montana State would give Oregon State a game,
right?
So it's a 0 for me. I don't see a way where they can beat Oregon.
Do you hope to see the series continue though?
I do, as a bye game, because I do think that you want to help Oregon State out. So keep the game going. I mean, who would I rather see Oregon play Oregon State, or would I rather them see them play
Miami?
No, because they're not going to replace that game with Miami. They're probably going to replace it with another G5 game. So would I rather watch them play Oregon State or play UNLV or Boise or Utah State or something like that? I would rather them play South Florida. I'd rather see them play Oregon State just for for the in-state thing than any other reason. I mean, than playing any of those other teams that are on par with Oregon State right now.
Okay, I hear you. All right, then it's at Penn State. Dun, 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 dun. I was thinking about this when I was booking my travel to Penn State, which it's not going to be fun to get there, by the way.
No, it is hella
it's like
inconvenient.
2 flights, 8 hours, 7.5 or 8 hours. And then that's just to get to Harrisburg. And then we're going to have to drive an hour and 40 minutes to get to Penn State. And then after it's a night game, East Coast 7:30 game, right?
Yep. So that means we're going to get out of there at like 1 a.m. and got to drive back. And then I got like a 6:30 a.m. flight, so I'm probably not going to go to sleep that night. So that trip's going to suck. But the game is going to be lit. And it's going to be probably the coolest sporting event I've covered since I've been covering the Blazers. I think actually the single most important sporting event I've covered since the Blazers lost in the playoffs in 21 to Denver. And prior to that, I'd have to go back to like a Seahawks playoff game, maybe. It's been a minute. So I'm looking forward to this. Even though it's going to be a bitch to get to, but I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, 13-3. I'm trying to get to that game. I'm trying.
Are you gonna come?
Yeah, my wife has to leave town on the 28th. So
get to Harrisburg. You can roll with us.
Okay.
I'll let you into the car with me and Bill Orem. All right. So 13-3 last season under Coach Franklin. They got arguably the best quarterback, at least the best returning quarterback in the conference, right? Drew Aller? No?
Sure.
You don't like him. I know you don't like him.
Sure.
I like him. He's gonna bust out this year. They're loaded at running back, right? They have 4 preseason All-Americans, including Katron Allen. You gotta love the name Katron. It always works.
And
Nick Singleton.
Nicholas Singleton.
Yep, he was the main. I think Katron was more of an all-purpose selection, but Nick is their main back, I believe. And then offensive lineman, defensive lineman. They're pretty loaded, man, and it's going to be there. Threat level is off the charts, a definite 5. And I just, when I'm unsure, I ask myself, if I had to bet my house, where am I going? I'm going Penn State by a touchdown or less.
I am going to go threat level in this game it's a 5 because of Penn State's talent. And you have a new quarterback rolling into there. So like my threat level at this point is a 5, but it could go as low as a 3 depending on how the first 4 games go.
Right. I agree with you.
Because I don't trust.
Or it could go to a 10. It could go to a 10.
Yes, correct. You're correct. Or it could go to a 10 out of 5. Because I don't trust James Franklin to win big games. I don't trust Drew Aller. And there is bad blood here between these coaches. So I'm telling you that trust me. Because there was a little incident that happened at the Big Ten Championship, and it was not good. We'll just leave it at that.
You can't leave it at that.
Okay.
I want you to give up.
No. I'll say it a different way. There was some
Words
People
exchanged.
were wondering if there was some Connor Stallions activity going on. We'll just say that.
I don't even think I know what that means.
Okay.
Connor
The people on the
Stallions.
bottom know.
Oh, that Connor Stallions.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying though, if the Ducks look good through the first 4 games, they're rolling. You might drop that to a 3. You like the Ducks that much more if they're rolling. What if Penn State's rolling though? What if Penn State's looking amazing? Then what?
Okay, so Penn State's their beginning of the season. Nevada, who's going to be bad again this year. FIU
and Villanova.
Villanova. If they don't look good in their first 3 games,
we won't know anything after that.
Correct. If they don't win that, if they give up more than 14 points in the first 3 weeks in their first 3 games, or 21 points in the first 3 games, then yes, they should have a high level of concern. This is the other part about it, is that Penn State has no reference for any type of good game prior to playing Oregon. Oregon will have already played Oklahoma State, which is a Big 12 team. They would have already played Northwestern, and it would have played Oregon State. So and Montana State, all 4 of those teams are light years. Well, actually, at least 3 of them are light years better than anything on Penn State's schedule. So when they play Oregon for the first time, that's going to be their first time having that level of intensity in a game. So there's going to be nerves. There's going to be, hype. It's a whiteout game. It ain't exactly a cakewalk for Penn State. They just happen to be at home for the game.
Now they will have a week off. They will have a bye week.
A week off after your starters have rested for 3 straight games? Okay.
3 cupcakes and a week off.
Yeah.
Oregon State, or Oregon will have played 4 straight games. So, but, whatever. Sometimes that's overblown. All right. Indiana comes to Autzen, 11-2 last season. Transfer QB Fernando Mendoza.
Who was at Cal last year?
16 TDs at Cal, 69%. Elijah Sarrett is back, wide receiver, added some oil through the portal. I'm gonna go threat level because they're a well coached, tough team.
I love their head coach, Kirk.
New quarterback, Kirk. Sorry, I'm gonna say Kirk. It's not Captain Kirk, right? Kirk Signetti. I'm gonna say threat level 3.
I hate agreeing with you. Damn, it is a threat level 3 because Indiana, I do think that they will take a back, that they will slow down a little bit this year. But whatever happens after the Penn State game, Oregon wins, Oregon loses the game. I am going to, I am going to take the Ducks to win Penn State, FYI. So
I got that. I got that.
So I got them at 5-0 right now. And you're going to have Dan Lanning that week in practice. They beat Penn State. Oh my gosh. Y'all ain't ish. Y'all think y'all accomplished something. Like, he is going to be a tyrant for those 2 weeks, just harping on the little things.
He can just say, remember what happened last time we beat Penn State?
Yep. Exactly.
We got our butts kicked next game. So
exactly. So then if they lose to Penn State, that's going to be easy to get ready for Indiana. Right. So I'm actually going to put the Indiana game at a 2. Not that I didn't talk myself back into it. Yeah. So either way, win or lose. But I do believe that Indiana is a game that has some threat, but they're not going to be as good as they were last year. And we saw what happened when they dealt with some monsters last year with Ohio State. They drowned them almost.
Definitely. All right. Then the Ducks go to Rutgers, 7-6 last season. 1.
4.
Threat level 1.
4.
What?
Threat level 4.
Shut up.
No, I'm dead serious. I am dead serious. Because that Rutgers game is that Wisconsin game last year. I said in the preseason, before the season even started, I was like, Oregon is going to have trouble at Wisconsin because of the way the schedule shook out. They played like 8 or 9 games in a row. I was like, the team's going to be tired. And they were going to struggle. That was the game. This Rutgers game, 3 time zones away. You are going to, yes, you had a week off 2 weeks before, but it is hard to play. You could, depending on how Rutgers season starts, you could end up with like a big noon kickoff potentially. That it's going to be a tougher game in terms of Oregon can blow them out and should blow them out, but that's the game that I'm circling. That could be a trap spot.
That trap game, that's a real trap game.
Yes.
Last year you tried to sell Purdue as a trap game, by the way. So I don't know if I trust your trap game acumen, but I'll buy this.
I said it could be I said the Purdue game could be a trap game because it was coming after the Ohio State game. And at that point in time, we did not know that Purdue was going to be on like their 3rd string quarterback and that they were going to be absolutely atrocious.
All right. Interesting. Okay. I'm sticking with 1. If they struggle with, but like you said, things happen. On Talking Ducks last year, we all thought Wisconsin would be trouble as well. And it ended up, if they had a touchdown call back late, didn't they? They had a touchdown call back that would have put them up. In the 4th, Wisconsin did. They ended up settling for a field goal, I think. Anyway, all right. Speaking of Wisconsin, they come to Oregon after the Rutgers game. I'm going to say threat level 2. I honestly do not know much about what they've done in the offseason. What do you think?
Wisconsin has gotten back healthy. They've switched their quarterback. They are going to – Luke Fickell is a good coach. This roster is not good enough. Them traveling to Eugene is going to be very, very tough, extremely tough. I'm putting this threat level at a 2. This game will not look like last year. The Rutgers game is more likely to look like the Wisconsin game last year than this Wisconsin game. This game is going to be this game will look a lot like, it won't be as bad as the Wisconsin-Alabama game last year because they lost their quarterback, but yeah, it'll be a 17-point win, probably.
Okay, moving on to at Iowa. I'm excited about this game. It's going to be a lot of fun to go watch the Ducks play in that environment. 8-5 last season, transfer quarterback. A lot of those these days. Mark Granowski from South Dakota. Dude put up 130 touchdowns at South Dakota with about 12,000 total yards of offense. A Walter Payton helmet right here, award winner at the FCS level. I'm going threat level 3, bro. I think there's going to be a hostile environment, a good, well-coached, tough, hard-nosed team with a good dual-threat quarterback. This could be trouble. What say you?
Yeah, this is a 4. This is a 4. This is a tough environment. And this has trap game written all over it. The whole rest of the schedule after Wisconsin is tricky. Very, very tricky. And this is going to be the first of the tricky games because it's at Iowa. It is probably going to be a night game. It'll either be a night game or a big noon kickoff. You would rather it be a big noon kickoff game than a night game because night game, everybody sauced up all day. There's going to be game day could potentially, but it could be any number of factors that just intensify the environment. You have to jump on Iowa early, but Iowa plays really good defense. This is either going to be one of those games that's like the Northwestern game that we talked about earlier. It's either going to be really close or it's going to be a blowout. So I'm going threat level 4 because this could go left.
Okay, that's fair. I'm looking forward to that one, man.
That could be a game that Oregon is sitting at 8-0 going into that game and leave 8-1.
Ooh, okay. Then you come home, win or lose, to play Minnesota. Minnesota, they're getting better. They're getting better, but they don't ever seem to really have enough playmakers to be a major threat. I'm still going to call this a 1.5, only because it's a pretty solid Big Ten program, but I can't go above that in terms of the threat level. 1.5 for me.
This is a 3 for me.
Damn.
because
haterade.
No. It would be a 4 if it were at Minnesota. Actually, no. I'm going to give this a 2 because if it were at Minnesota, I would give it a 4 because Minnesota and PJ Fleck rowing the boat, they've gotten better. Their roster is continuously getting better. Their offense, which had been putrid 2 years ago, was just stinky last year. And so if they've improved on that, then they're going to be a tougher team. They're like Iowa with a slightly better offense.
Really?
But the problem is that traveling on the road is going to be tough for them. You know, PJ Fleck's an 8-9 win coach every year. So you can't expect anything less than that. And they're recruiting better. This feels like one of those, look at Minnesota the same way that you looked at Oregon State in the Pac-12 under Jonathan Smith.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 years. Like you're way better than them, but don't come playing around.
All right. Maybe 1.5 is too soft. I'll push to 2.5. I can't go higher than that. They played Illinois tough last year, but Illinois, when they walked, I watched that game. I think that was parent weekend, and they just looked completely overwhelmed, even though they were a good football team. And if we're talking about Oregon having the talent level that it has, which may even be better than last year's talent level, even though you had a lot of transfers and more experience, I just can't see Minnesota being able to withstand that type of athletic pressure, and especially if Dante Moore.
And it's a Friday night. It's a Friday night.
All cylinders. I just think it's gonna be one of those games where you see a good Minnesota team, like we saw with Illinois last year, a good football team, but they just cannot match up. And it's just they're just overwhelmed. So that's why. But I'll go to 2.5. You talked me into a 2.5, but I can't go higher than that. All right. USC then comes rolling into town. Lincoln Riley, such a disappointment. He's finally figured out maybe the defense is important. They've added a lot of defenders, allegedly. We'll see how that pans out. I think they said that last year, too, and that didn't work out necessarily well. Although they lost a lot of close games last year. Because it's USC and because they do have talent, and Lincoln Riley's had some experience, and maybe they have made enough tweaks to become better all around. I'm going to go 3.5 here. I'm going to go 3. I'm not going to go quite 3.5. But for me, I can't see them pulling off any kind of win at Austin unless they prove to me they can, to this point, that they can play some actual defense.
This is a 2. Because this game means so much to everybody, and it's in Eugene. USC is going to come out like they did against Alabama, champing at the bit, like crawling on the ground, like let's go. And Dan's going to be like, hey, when they get in here, lock the gates, the way they can't get out. And it is going to be a bloodbath. Is going to be this is going to be and when I say bloodbath, I'm not talking about like that this is going to be like a 35-point win. No, I'm talking about this is going to be, what's that cartoon when the rooster used to catch the dog and just whoop his ass? Just
Foghorn Leghorn.
Yes, Foghorn Leghorn. This is going to be a thorough like manhandling, and then they leave out of the game like, damn, we got to get in the weight room. We got to get a little tougher. This is one of them ones, because at USC's point in the season, they're either going to be flying so high and a potential to go to the playoff, or what I more expect is this is going to be the game that breaks them after about the first quarter. They're going to be a broken team.
I say, sir, it sounds like you give the Trojans no chance in Austin Stadium, sir.
No.
That's how Foghorn Leghorn talked. Now, I love the chicken hawk. Remember the chicken hawk? The little chicken hawk was always chasing big ass Foghorn Leghorn. Yes. He said, come along quietly. I'm going to have to mush you up. Yeah. I'm going to have to go watch that later. All right. Then we got Ducks at Huskies. The last time I covered Ducks at Huskies, I think it was when Taggart went up there in 17 and got smoked. No. I covered 19. I covered 19 up there. That was a good game. Herbert had a nice day. Cyrus Habibi Lakio had a nice game in that one. So that was the last time I covered.
Oh, they were playing in the all white with the silver helmet.
Yeah, I think it was like
chrome helmets. Yep.
That was a pretty good football game. Anyway, Ducks going up there. Jetfish, they've made a lot of moves this offseason to try and get better. They do have a quarterback. They do have Damon Williams. Looks like he's a pretty good dual threat kid. I'm going to make this a 4. In that environment, last game of the year, I hope UW has a lot riding on this. We'll see, but I'm gonna say a 4.
Oh, this game's a 4.
Okay,
a 4.
All right.
Yeah, but it could drop down to a 2. If Washington beats Ohio State, this game's a 2.
Okay.
Because they're not beating Ohio State and Oregon in the same year. And both of the games are on Montlake. So if they beat Ohio State, this game's a 2. If they lose to Ohio State, this game could be a 5. Because I actually have Washington finishing 5th in the Big Ten this year.
Okay.
Behind, like Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Illinois, and you can mix up however you want to organize that 4, and then especially the top 3, and then I got Illinois 4, then I got Washington 5.
Okay, so it sounds like we're both at around a floor of 9 with a ceiling of 11.
No, I have a floor of 10.
A floor of 10.
Floor of 10.
But you've got two 4s and a 5.
Yeah, they're not going to lose all of those games. They're going to win.
But a 4 and 5 are losable. That's the floor then.
No.
Okay. You're saying floor of 10. I'm saying floor of 9.
Yes. Floor of 10, ceiling of 12.
All right, cool. All right, we're good, man. We got through a lot there. We'll come back next week on Monday. Before I go, we close out some business. Today's episode of Ducks Confidential Podcast was brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coastal region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. I'm Aaron Fentress. He's George Wrighster. We'll be back next week to talk about Montana State more in depth.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.